Sheila and the Dungeon Master 2, a short D&D story. Part 4, Sex and Games and Rock and Roll. And Drugs. When we woke up in the morning, we had the typical morning sex that couples in love often have. And then we got up, showered, had a light breakfast, and sat down to talk about stuff. Of course, Sheila found my shower to be quite an enjoyable experience and wanted to know if I could create such a wonderful device for her in her home. Even though there was no plumbing in Forestera, I figured magic would probably suffice, but it would be 3 months before I was able to go there again. So we went over to my computer and sat down. My thoughts, though, started going back to Latia and the other girls. So I tried to focus on other things to get my mind off of my obsession. I found it weird, though, that I kept lusting for her when the most beautiful creature that I ever saw, who I was more in love with than I had been with anyone, except for my now ex-wife, of course, was sitting right next to me. So I asked her about it. How can I be lusting for Latia right now when I'm here with you? As usual, she was very casual in her response. Because she's not here, and you've yet to have sex with her. So now she's your prey that you're currently unable to capture. So you crave the meat that is currently out of your reach. Her comments turned me on for some reason. What an interesting way of describing my lust, dear, I said as I started to take off her shirt. But she stopped me. Not now. You have things you want to share with me. We'll have more sex later, okay? I gave her a look. Are you trying to become my prey now? She just looked back at me and smiled. Always. Okay, let's start with the music, I said. But where should I begin? What song should I have you listen to first? I thought about it, and a piece called And You and I by the progressive rock band Yes came to mind. So I went on YouTube and called it up. I thought about showing her a live performance first, so she could see them perform it, but decided I wanted her to hear the studio version first. Not that she'd have any idea what that was, but as the music began, she soon became enraptured by the sounds. Oh my goodness, this music is unlike anything I've ever heard. It sounds heavenly. I know. They're my favorite group. Group? She asked. As in a group of people, yes? Yes, a group is several people who get together and form a band. What's a band? A band is a group of people. Realizing now that this conversation might start becoming circular, I tried to adjust. Who, form a band. That is, they play music together as a group. Band and group is basically the same thing. I see, she said as she looked at me a little funny. Does this group play other music too? Yes, they have a lot of music that they've written and performed. Would you like to see them play in front of an audience? Oh yes, show me. Of course, now I found it interesting how we both kept saying yes while listening to Yes, and then realized how silly my thoughts were and let them go. I decided to just go with Roundabout next, but a live performance now. But as they started playing, Sheila just looked at me funny. I thought you said this isn't a vision screen, yet you just called up this performance by them, so clearly this is a vision screen. I found her way of seeing that to be quite cute. Yes, I see why you think that, but unlike your vision screen, I can't call up where they are now. I can only call up the videos that are posted here on YouTube. See where it says YouTube? That's what this is. She was trying to understand. By video, you mean this performance that we're watching, which she was greatly enjoying, by the way. So why can't you call up what they're doing now? Remember the device that you gave the adventurers so they could watch the vision that they had of you? Of course. That is similar to a video. Well, it is a video because when they pressed the button, your video that you made would play for them again. Sheila understood what I was trying to say, which surprised me at first, but then I realized that it shouldn't have. Her technology wasn't all that different, except that it operated by magic, where our technology operated by electricity for the most part. I loved watching her enjoy listening to the music that I played for her, and her fascination with how our technology worked, something that she didn't really understand since it didn't involve the casting of any spells. But after playing her Asia by Steely Dan, Ashes Are Burning by Renaissance, Bad Company by Bad Company, Nevermore by UK, and 21st Century Schizoid Man by King Crimson, she was pretty blown away, especially after hearing King Crimson, which I purposely saved until last. How in the world do you people make music like this? I've never heard anything like it. That last piece scared me a little, though. It was kind of creepy. I smiled. I know. That's why I love it. There are a lot more songs that I can play for you, but we don't have time for all that. But if I can figure out how to play this music for you in your realm, I will. Now she looked confused. What do you mean if you can figure it out? You're a dungeon master. What's to figure out? Don't you just will it to happen and it happens? I smiled again. If it's possible to use magic to play the music, then yes, it'll just happen. But I have a feeling there's a little more to it than just willing it to happen. But we'll see when I'm back there. Having blown her mind with some of the music that I like, I decided to try showing her some games that I enjoy playing. You want to show me some games next? Wait, you're titling Part 4 Sex and Games and Rock and Roll. Why aren't you titling it Sex and Music and Games? I tried not to laugh. Oh, well, the music is the rock and roll part, though most just refer to it as rock music today. She had no idea what I was talking about, so I searched on YouTube for the song Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin and played it for her. And of course, she loved it. Then I Googled the term rock music for her, which included the words drug-related, anti-establishment, pop music, and mid and late 1960s. After reading it, she looked a little confused. Drug-related, I understand. But can you explain the words pop music and anti-establishment and mid and late 1960s for me? In an attempt to save a little time, I Googled the definition of anti-establishment for her, but that kind of only confused her more. Explaining the 60s was easy though, since she understands years with no problem. Though at first she thought it meant that our world began in the year 0, like it did with Forastera. I didn't bother to try to fully explain that to her, but for pop music, I decided to try something different. I showed her my narration on YouTube of one of the chapters of my book. The chapter is called At First Sight, and the intro music is a song called Love at First Sight by Kylie Minogue, which was about as pop rock a song as you could get. She fell in love with the music, so I tried to dance with her. She was confused at first, having never danced to music like this before. So I showed her the music video of that song so she could see how Kylie danced. And soon we were up, moving our bodies together in rhythm to the music. But soon after that, we ended up fooling around on my couch, as I think Kylie kinda turned her on with those sexy moves of hers. Of course, now she wanted to know if we could get together with Kylie for sex. I tried my best to explain why that would never happen. She was confused, but then accepted that it just wasn't going to happen. But then I went back to my narrated video and played some more, and when my voice came on, she got excited. Wait a second, that's you! Yes, that's me narrating my book on YouTube. I love it! Can we listen to your narration of your books now? Well, we have less than a day before you're taken back to your reality, and my first book alone will take around 24 hours to listen to all of it. But if you'd like, I can give you copies of my books along with my short story, and you can read them when you're back in your reality. This got her excited. I cannot wait to read your books. Are you going to let me see your name now? It's on your books, yes? I thought about that for a sec. You know what? Sure, why not? My middle name is Scott, but I go by my middle name, so just call me Scott. But if you prefer Dungeon Master still, that works just fine. She saw my name on one of my books. You told us your initials, so what does the D stand for? David. I think having 3 names confused her as she tried saying my name. David, Scott, me, and what? Meineke, I said. And for those of you who are reading this, it sounds like this. Mine, Nick, Key. Meineke. David, Scott, Meineke, she said. I like it. It's odd, though, that you have 3 names. Why do you need so many names? What's wrong with just one? Well, like I said, calling me just Scott is fine. But some people have a first, a middle, and a last name, and those are mine. I tried to explain why we had 3 names, but I was just confusing her, so we moved on. Okay, now I want to show you some of my games that I enjoy playing. So sex and rock and roll and games, she said, still wondering why I titled it the way I did. So I searched on YouTube for the song Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll by Ian Dury and played it for her. The song confused her at first, but then she started liking it, and soon she was moving her hips. So we danced some more and made out some more too. I kept trying to not get distracted, but it was difficult. Okay, dear, let's stop, because I really want to show you some games now. Okay, so that's why you're titling it the way you are? Because of that song? But you said games instead of drugs. Why? Well, we don't have any drugs, but it's basically a play on words. Yes, I then tried to explain to her what a play on words means, which thankfully she understood. Oh, I brought some drugs with me, in case you wanted to try them. I couldn't believe what she just said. What? You're kidding. No, I've got them here, in my belt pouch. She opened it and showed me. See? Why did you bring drugs? Because of what you said yesterday about wanting to drug them. So Ilana gave me some LSD and ecstasy. I told her yesterday which drugs I was going to use, but we didn't mention them in part 3. What? You have LSD and ecstasy? I didn't think you'd even know what they are. I never would have known, but Ilana explained them to me a long time ago. So now I want to do some with you. We never took both of them together, though, but she said it'll be a fun experience for us and that we'll take them together the next time we take some. How often do you do drugs with Ilana? Not often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But how did she know about them? Because Ilana is the goddess of flora and fauna. She knows more about drugs than you and me combined. Heck, she knows more about them than anyone. I have sex herbs too, but I didn't bring them with me. We can take them the next time you're with me. I was starting to freak out now, but in a good way. I know about your sex herbs. I wrote about them in my first book, though I didn't say that you had any. You were just teasing Bale about having them. Oh, I remember that conversation, she said, laughing. I had him so freaked out. I know. So you really want to do some LSD and ecstasy with me? It's been a few years since I did them. My girlfriend that I had at the time got them from someone. I had never done either of them before. I loved them, though, and was glad to hear that they're not addicting. Taking those drugs, though, was one of the most spiritual experiences I ever had. Sheila looked excited now. Really? Oh, then let's do them now. She said it'll take about an hour for them to take effect and will last for around 6 to 8 hours, and then we'll just fall asleep once they wear off. I know. That's why I wanted to use them for my party, And being a dungeon master, I was just going to create them for all of us. We took both of the drugs, and I took her into my little game room and showed her some games while we waited for the drugs to take effect. I decided to show her my card game Wyvern first. Remember the dragon cards they found? Yes. Who do you think created them? Yes, I know now that it was you who created them, but I created them too. I created them for my story. Here are those cards, along with a lot more. She was shocked when she saw that I had the very same dragon cards that she created, but was amazed at how many more dragons there were. So these dragon cards are all part of a game? Yes, the game is basically me with my dragons fighting you with your dragons. Oh, fun! Well, now I want to play. Teach me how to play. It took a while to explain how it all worked, but I gave her a little rule book along with a bunch of basic decks that she could take back with her so she could play with other people when she was back in her realm. Once she understood the basics, I knew she'd catch on quickly. Wyvern totally fascinated her, and she wanted to keep playing, but I wanted to show her some other games before our feelings of euphoria started flooding our brains. Next, I showed her cards for a game called L5R, which stood for Legend of the Five Rings. The art fascinated her, but I didn't want to get into the rules yet, as we didn't have much time left. I'll bring these cards with me next time I come to you. Oh my God, Scott, I'm so excited now. Having called me Scott for the first time, we just looked at each other and laughed. It sounds weird to hear you call me by my name. We then started kissing each other, but I knew it would only be a few more minutes before the drugs kicked in, so I grabbed my container of dragon dice and rolled it open. This is a game called Dragon Dice. Each of the dice represent different kinds of creatures. The 12-sided dice are dragons, the 10-sided dice are various kinds of monsters, and the 6-sided dice are different kinds of people. After going over the basic concept of the game, Sheila had a most interesting idea. Hey, what if when we're back in my realm, you bring these dice with you, and we use our magic to turn them into the creatures that they are, and then we fight with them in my field. The terrain dice can be little forts that we create, maybe. What do you think? I just kissed her. Sheila, not only do I want to play dragon dice with you on a table with these dice, but the thought of turning them all into creatures and then we battle outside in your field just sounds incredible. Man, I can't wait until I die and come to you permanently. Speaking of dying and coming to your realm, the other day you were all worried that I might not come to your reality when I die. And yesterday you're telling me I have nothing to worry about, that I'll definitely come to you when I die. Are you getting a little confused there? No, I was just a little fearful the other day, but then I realized that I was being silly. I mean, you're obviously going to come to me when you die, 'cause like you said, it wouldn't make any sense if you didn't. Sheila then remembered something, but it was too late. Oh wait, we were going to write part 5 about you dying and then coming to me, so that you'll die and then come be with me. I'm sure I won't be sent back to my reality until tomorrow morning sometime, or maybe during the night. So let's stop what we're doing now and write it, okay? I saw how excited she was, and while the thought of writing a story that I died creeped me out a little, the drugs had now set in, so our minds found just about everything we said and anything we saw to be fascinating. Oh my God, baby, you're right. Let's write it now. So how should I die? How about you run a sword through me? That would kill me, right? Sheila looked excited. Oh, wow. That should totally work. Where's the sword? Oh, wait, dear. I don't want you to die now. I want us to have sex now. I'll kill you later, okay? Sounds good to me, darling. I've got a sword around here somewhere. It belonged to my grandfather. Did I ever tell you about my grandfather? I said, as I started staring at her tits. She had clothes on, but when she saw me staring at them, she took her shirt off. Do you like my tits? What kind of question is that, you silly girl? Of course I like your tits. I love your tits. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Let's have sex. Oh wait, we need to write part 5. We tried walking over to my computer. It felt weird to walk around, but we managed. Okay, what should I write? Oh, I know. We're thinking about how you should kill me, and eventually I find where my sword is. It's a Masonic sword. It's real thin, but it'll work. But you have to wait until you feel yourself being taken back to your reality, okay? Oh, because that way we'll create drama, right? Yeah. Wait. I'm the one creating the drama, I said, because I'm writing it. But now she looked a little sad. But I'm helping, aren't I? You said I could help you write it. You're going to let me help you, aren't you? Course I am, sweetheart. Course I am. Okay, so we're talking about it, and we finally figure out how you're going to kill me, and right before you start to leave, you run my sword through me, just like I ran your sword through you and Alana. Remember when I did that? That was so erotic. She seemed to like hearing me say the word erotic. Oh my God, baby, I got so horny when you did that. When I saw you lick our blood off your sword with your tongue, I just wanted you to penetrate me right there, and then penetrate Ilana too. Penetrate? I asked, looking a little confused. You mean fuck, right? Fuck? Sheila looked totally confused now. What on earth does fuck mean? I started laughing. Wait, you don't know what the word fuck means? You live in Forestera, but you just said, what on earth does fuck mean? Now I laughed harder, and she joined in. But now she looked a little confused. Honey, what are we laughing about? She then looked over at my computer. Oh my God, look at how cool your computer looks. My video of my narration was still playing, but now it was on the next chapter, and the visuals I used looked very cool. I started wondering if she had all the games that I wanted her to have, but then I got distracted. I just love how LSD makes everything look so cool, and how it makes you feel so cool too. Hey, let's just sit on my couch and make out a bit. I feel amazing right now. How about you? We sat on my couch, and then she had another idea. Let's get naked too, so I can feel all of your body on all of my body. Did you find your sword? I'll find it later. So do you want me to penetrate you or fuck you? We started laughing while also touching and kissing each other. We felt like we were totally in control, and everything felt amazing to touch and to look at. The combined effect of LSD and ecstasy together was one of the most surreal experiences I had ever had. The first time I did them together with my then girlfriend was amazing, but now, with Sheila, it was an experience on a whole different level. Have you taken these drugs before? I asked. Not together like this. We had forgotten that we already had this conversation earlier. Ilana and I almost did them together, but we decided to wait and maybe try them together later. Glad we did, because I am just in heaven now. I want to feel you inside me. I want to feel your tongue in my mouth and then on every part of my body. Just take your time and lick me all over. So we started licking each other all over, and our saliva mixed with our sweat was like a jolt to our bodies. Then she said the most bizarre thing. Scott, I want to feel all of you inside all of me. Her words sounded amazing, but I was a little confused. How do I put all of me inside all of you? I don't know. I just wish I could feel all of you inside all of me. Doesn't that just sound perfect? Yeah, it does. I wish there was a way we could do that. Now, just so you all know, we weren't sounding all loopy when we talked. It was obvious from our speech that we were high, but overall we still sounded pretty normal and felt totally in control of our actions. For the next several hours, though, We would engage in all kinds of sexual activity, but sometimes we'd just stop and hold and caress each other and kiss each other in various places: our arms, our stomach, our legs, our cheeks, our chest. And of course, we eventually started sucking each other too. But I had yet to enter into her. We kept exploring each other's body with our tongue and our hands, and the more we did, the more we felt like we were one with each other, as though we were the same being, pleasuring ourselves together. Yet we still felt separate too, somehow. Sheila looked at me. "I don't want to stop. I wish we could just be like this forever." "Me too. I can't believe how unbelievably beautiful you are. How did I end up with the most beautiful girl in the world? No, in existence. You're such an incredible person, too." She leaned in and kissed me very softly, which made me shiver. "How do you feel about Latia now?" I looked at her funny. Believe it or not, I wasn't even thinking about her. But now that you mentioned her, you know what I want to do to her? She smiled. "I bet you want to do to her the same thing that I want to do to her. I want to make love to her for an entire evening until we fall asleep in each other's arms and then wake up the next morning and make love to her again." Well, since you're a girl, you can't make love to her like I can. But yes, that's what I want to do to her too. And just like that, my lust for Latia returned. I wish she was here with us now, so we could all have sex with each other. She just looked at me funny. "I wish she was here too, but I'm a goddess, you silly boy. I can turn myself into a man anytime I want." Her comment made me nervous. "I don't want you to turn into a man." She laughed. "No, I meant when we're with Latia." "Oh," I said, sounding relieved. "Okay, so the next time we're alone with Latia, we'll both take turns making love to her. Okay?" "Sounds good to me, but I want to have sex with her as a woman, too." "And I want to have sex with both of you girls at the same time. Hey, what time is it?" I looked at my phone. "It's almost midnight. How are you feeling?" "I feel amazing, sweetheart. How about you?" "I feel incredible. I'm starting to feel a little tired, though. I think it's starting to wear off." "Oh, we need to write part 5. "Don't worry about it. I'll start writing it tomorrow, after you're back home. I wish I could drive you home. Then we could make out in my car, in front of your house. Oh, and we could pretend that your parents are inside, and we don't want them to see us fooling around in my car." Some of what I said confused her, but she understood the imagery, and we just started laughing while continuing to touch and kiss each other. Oddly enough, though, I never entered inside her, and she never asked me to. I guess we were just too busy touching and kissing and caressing each other and feeling the deep love that we had for each other. I don't know when we fell asleep, but when I awoke, I was alone. Assuming she was in my bed, I went over there and laid down. She wasn't there, but I assumed she was just in the bathroom, so I'd wait for her to come back. And then I'd make passionate love to her until morning. But as I laid there waiting, something didn't feel quite right. But soon, I fell asleep again. Sheila opened her eyes. She was in her bed. She felt sad, finding herself back in her realm, with me not with her. But she saw that she had the wyvern cards that I gave her and some of the dragon dice. That made her smile. She then remembered that we never wrote part 5, and for reasons that she didn't understand, she started to panic a little.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll is all my brain and body need. your silly ways.